The businessman kindly bought a whole box of shoes from a poor boy on the street. He never expected that this good deed would bring him the boy's full support 15 years later, when he himself hit rock bottom in life. In the blink of an eye 15 years passed. By then the man had already gone bankrupt. He scraped together just enough for his wife's expensive surgery. But when he swiped his card to pay, the nurse impatiently told him the balance was not enough. The man was stunned. He clearly told his son yesterday to sell the house. Just then his son and daughter came to laugh at him. They urged him, instead of wasting money on a dying woman, he should save it for their plastic surgery and showbiz debut. The man could not hold back and scolded them, but his son complained if it were not for him adopting them out of pity, they would have been taken in by a far richer family long ago. All of this was seen clearly by the man's wife. She could not believe her children were so ungrateful, and fainted on the spot. The little boy the man once helped had long since become a famous businessman. He never forgot the kindness he received. After returning home, he had been searching for his benefactor. Meanwhile, the man, with no money for his wife's surgery, thought of the debts villagers owed him years ago. This became his last hope. But the very people he once helped not only lacked gratitude. When they heard he was bankrupt, they mocked him for deserving it. Some even imitated his crippled legs. The man heard it all as he arrived. He stormed in, angrily demanding repayment. He reminded them whose gambling debts he had covered, whose child's surgery he had paid for, whose failed business he had smoothed over. Now his wife was in the hospital waiting for life-saving money, so they had to pay him back. But the villagers said they would repay only if he showed an IOU. Back then the man trusted them, so he never made them write IOUs. Facing this pack of ungrateful people, he flipped over their mahjong table in anger, shouting at them to repay. But this only enraged them further. They shoved him to the ground. They even mocked him to kowtow, saying maybe if they were amused they would repay, to raise the surgery fee as soon as possible. The man swallowed his pride and knelt down. But when they saw him really kneel, they not only refused to repay, they mocked him as spineless and threw him out into the street. A kind villager reminded him to find Jim in the city, because Jim was doing well in business now, and since they used to be co-workers, he would surely help. But the man knew Jim misunderstood him deeply. Back then Jim made a mistake at the factory and got fired. The man had pleaded for him, but failed to keep his job. Jim believed the man never really wanted to help, and their friendship of more than 10 years ended right there. Now asking Jim for money, he knew Jim would never help. Just then the hospital called. His wife's condition had worsened. They urgently needed payment before the surgery. The man thought he had no choice but to ask Jim, but then he received a message. Caddis Enterprises invited him to a charity gala. Seeing this, he was filled with hope. He did not know the president of Caddis was the same little boy he once helped. At that moment the secretary called, saying Boss Jim had shown interest in their company project. The president was not interested at first, until the secretary mentioned Boss Jim used to be good friends with the man. The president was thrilled. He told the secretary to arrange a meeting, and also check who the man lingering near the company was. Meanwhile the brother and sister were calling Boss Jim father. For money they even agreed to help him deal with their foster father. Boss Jim decided to take them to Caddis Enterprises. But halfway there he got a call from the president. When he heard the president asking about a friend named Caddis, he hesitated.